Here's a Telegram and Slack customer support bot running on an N8N workflow built using Hermes Agent, powered by DeepSeek V4 Pro. Live order data from Supabase, web search, full AI agent with memory. Hermes built the whole workflow through conversation. I never touched the N8N canvas. And the more workflows it builds, the better it gets at building the next one. Let me show you how to build it. I've been building automation workflows with Hermes and the N8N MCP server for a couple of weeks now. And there's a moment, maybe the fourth or fifth workflow you build, where you notice it's not asking the same questions anymore. It's getting it right faster. That's what I want to show you. What we're building is a customer support bot, Telegram and Slack, live data from Supabase, web search via Perplexity. 7 integrations, all added through conversation with Hermes. But the bot is almost the side point. The real story is what Hermes does with N8N MCP over time. If you haven't seen Hermes before, it's the fastest growing AI agent repo this year, 133K GitHub stars. The self-improving mechanic is something I covered in depth in the last video. Link in the description. Here, we're applying it to N8N. Here's what you're walking away with. A customer support bot that handles Telegram and Slack, pulls live order and product data from Supabase, searches the web when the database doesn't have the answer, and costs almost nothing to run. Every piece of this, built through conversation with Hermes. No canvas work, no code. The first step is to go to the Railway template and select Deploy Now. Next, we will configure a couple of environment variables. For the password and username, I will just enter admin. Then I will save the config and deploy. We will wait about 2 minutes and then come back to it. Next, we will go to the DeepSeek platform and load it with a few dollars worth of tokens. Then we need to create an API key. We will name this N8N Hermes, create the key, and save it. Now we will go back to our Railway template, which is now deployed. Type admin for both the username and password and sign in. All right, now we are going to select the provider, DeepSeek, and paste the API key here. Finally, we are going to use DeepSeek Pro, so we will go ahead and select that now. All right, I'm now going to input the bot token key that I got from a previous conversation with the bot father, and then I will save and start. This will give me the ability to start my Telegram bot. So I will go to my Telegram bot here, click Start, and go back to Hermes. Then I'll go ahead and approve this, and now I'm connected. When Hermes starts up, it loads its skill system and MCP client. It can connect to external systems, build workflows, and remember what it does. That last part matters. Hermes stores a log of every N8N tool call it makes. It references that log the next time it builds a workflow. The more you use it, the better it gets at knowing which workflow structures work. The model underneath is DeepSeek V4 Pro. It has a 1.05 million token context window, so long-running conversations, full workflow history, no truncation. Agentic benchmark performance is on par with Opus 4.6, and it costs about a tenth of what Opus 4.6 does, before cache hits, which drop the price another 120 times. Most active conversations are running at the cache rate. All right, so now we're going to set up the N8N MCP server connection. I'm in my N8N dashboard where I'll go to Settings and select Instance Level MCP. From the connection details, I'll copy this URL and then the access token. Let's go ahead and regenerate that and copy it as well. Now that I have both the access token and the MCP server URL, I'll go into Telegram and say, please connect to the following MCP server. I'll paste the URL and the access token. This establishes a connection that Hermes can use to talk to my MCP server running on N8N. I'll set the home first and then we'll let that run. It is asking me for approval to execute this command. I will grant that. Now it is setting up the connection. I will quickly restart my Hermes agent for this to work. I will just type /restart. Now it has restarted and we are now able to connect to N8N. Now let's give it a quick test. Create a simple N8N chatbot workflow. Now it is going to connect to the MCP server that we told it to connect to, and it is using the tools within that server to get the information it needs to create a workflow. Now it says, let me get the exact node type definition so the workflow is accurate. It is going to process that. Now it is creating the workflow. It's just been created and validated. Now it is going to N8N workspaces and creating it in the workspace. It has created it, and now I can open it in N8N. I will go ahead and do that. It has automatically created this simple chatbot. The connection is working. Before Hermes can talk to Supabase, it needs the Supabase agent skill installed. Skills are modular capabilities you plug into Hermes. Each one gives it a new set of tools it can call. Supabase ships this as an official skill, link in the description. Now we're going to work on the Supabase database to store the customer information. I'm going to go to Supabase and use the free plan. I'll start a new project. Name it NA10 Hermes. Suggest a strong password and create the project. A few seconds later, the project is created. What we're going to do next is make a note of this URL. We'll go ahead and copy this project URL and save it. Then we're going to get an access token. We'll go to Account Preferences, Access Tokens, and generate new token. We'll name it NA10 Hermes again and generate the token. We'll go ahead and save this token as well. Now we're going to install this agent skill. This Supabase agent skill allows our Hermes agent to work with Supabase using natural language. We'll just copy this URL here and then go back to Telegram. We're going to say, please install the Supabase agent skill and point it to this URL. Hermes is smart enough to go to this URL and read the instructions. Inside, it explains how to install the skill. Hermes will read those instructions and install it. I'm going to select Allow Always and let it process. In a moment, the skill will be installed. This skill teaches Hermes how to work with the Supabase database. Now it's getting the reference files and creating the skill for the Hermes agent. We can see that the Supabase agent skill is installed and loaded. Now we're going to connect it to our Supabase database. Please connect to this database. I'm going to give it the information from before, the URL and the personal access token. After a few seconds, it's installed, connected, and ready to go. I'm just going to do a quick restart and then we will be all set. Now let's use this Supabase skill, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to start using the database through Hermes. I'm going to say, create 4 tables in Supabase: orders, FAQ, products, and ticket history, and include these columns. For orders, we're going to give it these columns. For FAQ, we'll use these columns, and tell it to use semantic embedding so the FAQ can be searched using natural language. For products, we're going to have these columns, and for ticket history, we'll have these. I'm just going to enter this now and let it process. After a few minutes, you'll see the work that's been done and all the tables created. Now I'm going to go to my Supabase database and take a quick look. We'll check the tables, and as you can see, all 4 have been created. Next, I'm just going to ask it to populate them with some sample data. Now that it's finished entering the sample data, I'll go to my database. I can see that the FAQ semantic table and the other tables have all been populated with sample data. Okay, now we're going to combine a few steps together. We're going to create the Telegram and Slack components, connect them to Supabase, and integrate everything. To do this, we'll start with this prompt. I wanted to create an end-to-end workflow for a customer support AI agent that runs on both Telegram and Slack simultaneously. I've described the channels and what tools to use for each, as well as the agent's core functions. The AI agent controlling this will have memory, distinct routes for Telegram and Slack, and logic for input handling. Its toolkit will include Supabase for SQL queries, Supabase for FAQs using vector search, and web search using Perplexity nodes. I've also specified the tables we want to use. Alright, now we're just going to let it work on this. We'll wait a few minutes and then come back. Alright, let's take a look at what it built. It created this in my N8N workspace with a Telegram trigger and a Slack trigger, using these 2 paths to route into my customer support agent. Let's open this up. This customer support agent already has a defined prompt that understands this use case, and it has tools hooked up to it. It has memory, a chat model, and it's connected to Supabase. If I go in here, you can see it generated the SQL calls and the vector search for me. It also created a Perplexity web search and another SQL node, then routed everything back into Telegram and Slack. It did a pretty good job initially, but I see that it's missing this OpenAI embedding. I can go back to Telegram, ask it to make that change, and then come back here. Notice what's happened. It's done a self-reflection and says, Self-Improvement Review. This N8N workflow skill has been created. So it's starting to learn how to work with N8N more and more as it does this. So I'm just going to say, please update the workflow. The N8N embedding node is not correct. So we'll let that process and come back. All right, so it figured out that the version was wrong and needed to be corrected. So it went ahead and fixed it. Let's go back to our workflow here and refresh it. I'll clean it up, and you can see here that the OpenAI embedding is now fixed. Next, I just need to set the credentials. I've already created the credentials for Slack and Telegram, and we've already set the Supabase credentials here as well. So I'll just publish it and then test it out. For the Telegram bot, I'm going to ask, what warranty do you offer? And do you offer bulk pricing? The N8N workflow is called, and the Supabase vector database is called, and I get the correct answers. To recap, all of it built through conversation. DeepSeek V4 Pro as the engine. Opus 4.6 performance, 1/10 of the cost, and near zero when the cache hits, which it does often. Hermes connected to N8N MCP and building workflows from a single prompt. Supabase created by asking. 4 tables, vector search, RLS policies, NoSQL editor. A Telegram bot with memory, live data tools, Perplexity as the fallback. Slack added as a second channel with one message. No canvas work throughout. And Hermes keeps getting better. Every workflow it builds gets logged. What it created, how N8N responded, what worked. The next workflow it builds references that history. The more you use it, the sharper it gets. Subscribe if you want to see that. If this was useful, hit like. It helps more builders find this. Drop a comment. What automation would you build first with this stack?